So I've asked ChatGPT to create the most powerful build for Elden Ring and Shadow of the ERDTREE DLC, and this is what the AI came up with. This build is nothing new. It's been known that blood works very well against most of the bosses and especially the DLC bosses. I was interested how creative the AI would be and what could it teach me. Since I don't really watch any of the other gaming YouTubers and people that create builds, so the only thing that I post is what I create in my own head, it was interesting to see some of the added things for this build. Honestly, most of it I already knew, but I wasn't using something like Swarm of Flies. It's really a cool thing. I'm guessing other people have noticed that very early into the Elden Ring that spell works very well with the bleed build, considering that it staggers bosses and normal enemies a little bit to give you enough time to start spamming the Rivers of Blood special attack. I did follow the build to the letter except for a few things that AI got wrong. For example, you can't have 15 Fate and cast Golden Vow. You need 25 Fate to be able to cast that spell. Also, AI didn't specify what Wondrous Physic Flask to use. I've used Opaline that reduces damage taken and Green Burst to increase stamina recovery. It's my favorite combination and it works very well for almost every build, especially considering the damage output of the enemies in the DLC. Another thing that AI didn't really get that well is that you can die quite easily with this build. Even though it says it has a lot of survivability, it doesn't. There's no talismans that negate damage except for the ERDTREE Favor +2 that increases health, stamina and equip load a little bit, but honestly it's not a good choice. It's definitely a talisman I would change for something else. AI also did one more mistake. It suggested Bloodhound Step and Seppuku as Ashes of War for the weapons. Unfortunately, the weapons Rivers of Blood and Mogwin's Sacred Spear have default Ashes of War that cannot be changed in any way. However, if you do use some other type of a weapon that isn't Rivers of Blood or Mogwin's Sacred Spear, then you can use Seppuku and Bloodhound Step as the combination you would want for those default weapons that can use such Ashes of War. Spells that AI suggested were quite good, but I don't really see the point of dragon incantations in the fights with Rivers of Blood plus Swarm of Flies setup. That setup on its own is very powerful, so dragon incantations are not needed at all. They can be used to clear out enemies before the bosses or mini bosses maybe, but against proper bosses I think it would add one more prolonged attack that can easily be countered by the bosses. Meaning it can stagger you, make the spell ineffective, and overall make the player quite vulnerable. Instead, I've added Flame Grant Me Strength as it stacks with Golden Vow. Before the fight, buff with Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength and use the Physics Flask. Go into the fight, use Swarm of Flies 2 times and then attack with Ash of War from Rivers of Blood. I do like how AI combined the armor set pieces. It gave us Raptor's Feathers for the chest piece, which increases damage done with jump attacks, quite useful. Also the helmet, White Mask, grants additional attack buff that stacks with other buffs. 2 other armor pieces are Bull Goat that would increase poise to 58 in total, which is quite good to survive at least 1 weak to mediocre hit and to offer a little bit more protection. This won't come as anything new that Rivers of Blood build is one of the most powerful builds in the game because it's a long running build that works very well in the DLC and in the base game. So kudos to AI for recognizing that and for creating almost a perfect one. Couple of mistakes here and there, but quite impressive. I might just become obsolete quite soon. Anyway, thank you for watching. There are links to Patreon app Subscribestar in the description if you want to check some of the reactions. I've been posting reactions more frequently, so if that type of content interests you, check the links out. See you.